Okay, so today I want to talk about my idea of the member ROI brochure, and here's some examples of some of my past clients that I've helped them build these. Some more examples. The thing that I want to talk about before we get going on this thing, I really look at this. It's not something that you just create and then mail out and you forget about it. It's not meant. It's more a tool that your members can use to recruit colleagues, customers, and suppliers. And let's face it, there's only a handful of you as staff members, and there's a whole ton more members. So if you can get your members to share with their friends, colleagues, customers, suppliers, I think that you're going to find that recruitment might be a little bit easier. So I would suggest that you do this. If you're going to make one of these, I'd suggest you do it both in print and digital. We do everything in digital today, but I think there's a lot of good reasons to also do it in print. Number one, I don't know how many of you are still mailing out member renewals. I hope a lot of you are, because let's face it, when we email out member renewals, depending on our open rate, not all of our members see their renewal. So if you were to mail this member brochure with your renewal notice, it reminds them why they joined and gives them several reasons to rejoin. Also, it's just, as I said, it's a great tool for your members to have. And again, whether they're a baby boomer like me and they want to have a piece of paper in their pocket when they're sitting with a friend or colleague at Starbucks or some other place, or whether they want to have it on their phone so they can pull it up if they're a millennial, I think that it would be wise to have it available both formats so all generations can use it. Basically, what this brochure does, it proves that membership is a good business decision. It proves that membership is a good financial decision, and it proves that membership is a good career decision. Question? Okay, feel free to ask a question if you want. I don't mind if you interrupt me. That's why I've got this thing set up as a meeting rather than a webinar. So it's totally fine. So the idea, if you look at this right here, I mean, it's just telling them right on the front. I mean, membership is a good career, business, and financial decision. So in looking at this, you want to ask yourselves, well, who are you trying to recruit? Okay, so industry members, industry practitioners, well, naturally that would be first on the list. But are you trying to recruit suppliers with this? And if so, you want to have some information in there about that. If you're wanting to recruit other affiliates, that's great, and you'll want to have some information about that. So I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a tease here because our next meeting will be on April 4th. And the topic that I'm going to share is how to do one of these member ROI evaluations. And so to get the numbers, you either want to do a live member ROI evaluation, which is qualitative research, or you may want to use a hybrid method of qualitative and quantitative using a software like Metimeter. So you can do it online rather than having to do it in face. I think in face is far better. I think it gives everybody a much better perspective, but that might not be possible. So other options are available. And what it's really about is every member only feature of membership. You want to get a dollar value number that the members believe they get as far as yearly value that you can put in the brochure. So here's an example of one of the brochures, and this is kind of my standard template form. And so if you look right up here, it states, okay, our members have said, for every dollar we invest in membership, we believe we get $42 back in return in real dollar value. And we prove that down at the bottom by adding up all the member only. Again, member only. So a lot of you are going to, well, I'll talk about advocacy in just a minute, but a lot of people might freak on that. Brian, you raised your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah. How do you like access an opportunity through networking? How do you put a value on that or leadership experience?
Yeah, I'm going to cover that next week or
Okay.
next time. But not to blow you off.
No.
The short answer, I'll give you a real short answer to that to hopefully satisfy you for now. When I do these valuations, I ask people, I say, okay, let's just say you go to the annual meeting every year because you're a member. Have you ever had a situation where you were talking with somebody and uh, some information you got saved you money, saved you a regulatory fine or a legislative issue, or they told you about a supplier that's hosing everybody, or you found out about an opportunity you would never have. And usually people go, yeah, and go, okay, well, what was that worth to you? And I go through a lot of ways they can determine what it's worth. And somebody else say, whatever number, say $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, and go, okay, you've been a member for 10 years. How often does that happen? Once. Okay, well, let's take that $100,000 and divide it by the 10 years. So what's that every year? And then they start going, oh yeah, okay, I get it, and that's the quick down and dirty. And next time we meet, I'll spend more time getting into this thing a little bit deeper. But that's the quick down and dirty, how we get them to understand. And there's lots of other ways that I have people determine value in their head and do their own math. And that's why I kind of like the qualitative focus group better than using like Metameter, and which would be a hybrid, because if you use Metameter, everybody will put in what they believe their value, and then Metameter will give you an average number. And so then we're adding quantitative methodology to qualitative, and I just think qualitative is richer for the purpose of what we're doing here. But
Thank you.
not everybody agrees with me. So in the book, and this is not trying to sell you the book. You can buy a used copy on Amazon cheap. But we look at, and to go further, what you just asked, Brian, the annual opportunity gain, annual business gain, annual time savings, annual avoidance of loss, and those are some of the key ways that they measure value. Um, and then
But I want to put it on there.
whoever's chit
I
chatting,
want
maybe
to
put
stop
yourself
and then
on
go all
mute.
over, especially when the spread is a little hard.
Let's see I don't know who's chit chatting, but whoever's chit chatting, put yourself on mute, please. Um, okay, so I like to also really make sure that you look at, don't list features that you consider that you create that helps the whole industry. And the reason I say this is because if I'm sitting talking to somebody and I'm talking to them about all of our legislative work, the person's going to go, well, I'll get that anyway, whether I'm a member or not. And then you're limited to the discussion of join because you should. And join because you should worked really well for the baby boomers, but it doesn't work so for millennials. I got two millennial sons, and I know that doesn't work well for the millennials. So you want to make sure that the only thing in your list of features is things that are only available through membership. Now, the member recruitment template, okay, hold on now. I'm going to stop the screen share for just a second so I can drop this. Here you go. I had this ready. So here is the template. I just put it in the chat. You can download that, and I'm going to go back to screen share. So the template, it's it's a PDF, and it kind of goes through the whole thing, and it tells you what to put where, how to do the layout, and why. Not that it's absolute. I just think that over several years of doing this, I came up with a pretty good way of laying it out that makes a lot of sense. Okay. So on the inside of a brochure, if you look to the left there, you'd put like who should join. So when I talked about, okay, who are you trying to get in? Are you trying to get the primary functionaries in your industry? Are you trying to get their suppliers? Are you trying to get other affiliates? So why not put in there who should join? And then the center panel is the what's in it for you, for that individual to join. And then the last panel is what's in it for the industry. So let me get into this. Many of you have probably seen Marketing General's membership marketing reports over the years, and other reports. And depending on which report, generally the people that say that they join in their organization for advocacy, it's only between 12 and 20%. So if you're leaning too much into advocacy, not that you shouldn't be doing it, but you have to understand only 12 to 20% of the people are joining for that care about that. So that's why I say put it at the end, the last page, because that way, okay, people that's important to them, and if your members talking to them, they have that available to discuss. One of the interesting things that I've found over the years of doing these valuations, a lot of people, especially trade associations, will go, well, yeah, but advocacy is a big part of what we do. One of the features of membership that always gets rated really, really high, if you do legislative updates and only send it to your members. If you send it to everybody in the industry, you've ruined the value, okay? But if you only send that legislative update to your members, members from all kinds of different industries, on average, rate that as far as the value for the whole year, $2,000 to $5,000, because of the time they could hire a person to go do that work, but the time it saves them. So that's worth your discussion. So, as I said, next time we get together, I'll get into do a talk on how to do the valuation. But for today, I just wanted to throw at you what talking about this brochure. If you go to my complimentary workshops for association executives, there's about a half-hour presentation on this topic that you're welcome to share. And then also just to remind everybody in the group that I set up the page at my website, rigsby.com, member-ROI-Zoom-recordings. And on that page is the Zoom link, the Zoom invitation. So if you put that into your calendar, you'll know which weeks we're meeting and which weeks we're not. Also at that page, I do have the actual link to the meeting. It's the same link every time. And everybody's asking last time about the certificate of participation. I have a certificate of participation there that you can download. So